Welcome back to the channel to the XRP holders. Let's take a closer look and see what's happening with XRP as we are going into Saturday morning. Thank you so much for the love. Again, make sure your bell icon is on so you're notified every time we upload. And once again, I really appreciate everyone that's still here and showing tremendous amount of love. It's very late here, but still trying to give you guys the updates that you guys love. So again, if you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. But looking across the board, as you can see for yourself, going into Saturday morning, first and foremost, we need to keep in mind it is the weekend. On the weekends, more manipulation than usual. CME futures are closed, but you're seeing a little bit of a bounce, as you can see across the board. But we need to zoom out and take a look at the broader market, whether you're looking at it on a weekly time frame or a monthly time, from more down substantially for altcoins. As far as XRP price is concerned, $1.91, up 1% in USD, down 1.4% on the Bitcoin side of things. Market cap, $115.4 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume at 6.6 billion. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So take a look at this first and foremost. After 4 weekly red candles in a row, will Bitcoin find support or at least have a relief rally at the 100-week SMA, currently sitting at $83,211? So, that's what I'm going to kind of, touch on, and you can see for yourself. This is where the price was sitting at the time of, this post from this individual. I'm going to share my personal thoughts onto, what I personally think. But take a look at what Bitwise CIO says. We're near the bottom, not the top. Matt Hogan said long-term buyers, no. Harvard, Abu Dhabi, real institutions are already, nibbling at these levels. He even addressed that Binance, the glitch theory, a minor footnote, not the reason crypto sold off. The real drivers, global liquidity, and, risk off. And just, let's face it, liquidity just isn't there right now from retail side of things. So could see retail is geared while institutions are accumulating. Feels uncomfortable now, but this is exactly how Bitcoin bottom forms. And this is something I've been emphasizing on my channel as well, especially once Bitcoin was able to, complete this wave at 86K. I did project that we could still come down to the 78.6. So, I totally agree with Matt Hogan that we're actually getting closer to the bottom for Bitcoin rather than, us getting to the top, because again, this is quite a substantial pullback that we have seen for Bitcoin. And if you want to put this into perspective, a 36% pullback. So as far as this wave is concerned, this has been the largest, pullback that we have seen, for Bitcoin pretty much since this upwards trajectory. So that's something we want to kind of keep in mind. But let's continue to take a look at ETF numbers. So the reason why I'm sharing Solana ETF is because this is obviously quite a new ETF as well. And you can see it pulled in about $130 million in inflows this week. But now if you compare it to XRP, XRP only has 2 spot ETFs right now, which is the Bitwise and Canary. And you could see they pulled in just yesterday at $35 million inflows in just one single day. And one big point that I want to point out here is, let's not forget that, on the Solana side, Solana has 6 spot ETFs, and that you guys know, I bring you guys unbiased updates. You got to give credit where it belongs. XRP outpaced Solana ETFs, by a massive margin. This is something we were anticipating to see, how this is really going to play out. But extra people in crazy amounts of inflows, as we could see for ourselves. And right now, currently, it's just been 2 spot ETFs that have been live. And that tells a lot in terms of the institutional inflows that are coming in during the retracement, which I've highlighted to you guys before as well. I know people are probably wondering, why are we not seeing the prices going up? And why are they accumulating during the, downward trend? Because, of course, the dollar cost averaging in. And that is a perfect way to kind of look at it. And that's how I currently am looking at this. So you could see the Grayscale XRP ETF is now updated on Charles Schwab, go for launch on Monday. So big things happening, but let's take a closer look and see what is happening with the price as we are going into the weekend. Like I said, on the weekends, we do tend to see more manipulation as CME futures are close. But if you're looking at the dominance, it has been picking up over the course of the last 24 hours, as you could see for yourself. We're gaining some strength. Bitcoin, on the other hand, was able to reach a new monthly low. Not only did we complete the wick, we came down to $8,500 for Bitcoin, and we have seen a little bit of a bounce since then. But again, you want to see the price kind of pushing back into the 61.8 fib zone. far as Bitcoin price is concerned, downward trajectory, even if the price of Bitcoin is able to pull down to $77,000 to $75,000, still this upward trend is not invalidated, believe it or not. And that still is quite a big pullback if you want to put this into perspective. We're looking at about an additional 10% pullback for some of those levels to be retested, as long as, I'm trying to keep it simple for you guys, as long as the price does not obviously drop below the 78.6, this upwards trend is still in play. Even though, like I said, I'm personally projecting, based off of what I'm looking at, Bitcoin and the institutional demand that we're seeing coming in, and the massive amounts of demand there is that's outweighing the supply for BTC. I just don't see how Bitcoin will not rebound. I think we're getting closer, might see some choppiness. Maybe we do push down to 77 to 75K key range, but we don't want to see, I'll say this as many times as I can, we just don't want to see the price drop in below the 78.6. So let's take a closer look and see what's happening with XRP. So XRP's price, you could see for yourself, did wake down. We're back below the $1.91. Again, this should not be a big surprise to any one of you. I want you guys to take a look at XRP price on the hourly time frame. So we went down to $1.82. We were able to reclaim back into the 50, as you can see for yourself, at $2. But we're having a little bit of a hard time remaining above this key support line. The dominance has picked up compared to what we have seen in the past few days. And that's something we kind of want to factor in. The price of Bitcoin is still sitting below the 61.8. So these are some factors we want to kind of keep in mind. We definitely could retest where we were just yesterday. That's something that is very realistic still. And that is a move of about 4.4%. And that could still end up happening, especially if the price is not able to remain above that key range. What I would love to see XRP do is remain above this key range. But if it's unable to do that, these are some realistic targets to be looking forward for in the upcoming hours ahead of us. But zoom out, take a look at the bigger picture. Obviously, the long-term accumulators are accumulating right now. I see the comments, and I stated in my market analysis update as well. That's the daily segment that we bring on the channel. It's 50-50 at this point. 50% of, the comments are very positive. At the other side, you 50% are not so positive. You people are not happy, with what's happening with the markets. But this is where your due diligence research comes into play. And, you need to have an exit strategy. When you go into this market, exit strategy is very important. I cannot stress this enough, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. And yeah, we'll see you later. Be crypto, ZX, and peace.